This camera is everywhere right now. Every YouTuber, TikToker, or maybe even your mom's book club is talking about this. The DJI Osmo Pocket 3 is arguably the ultimate compact camera for creators. It's got a 1-inch sensor, battery stabilization, and even a few tricks that make full-size camera looks like outdated potatoes. But let's be real, does this actually live up to the hype? Or is it just another shiny gadget that's designed to drain out your wallet like a bad crypto investment? I'm down like 30% and still buying more Bitcoin and Ethereum. Not financial advice though. So I took it out, shot a whole bunch of real world stuff, so like vlogging, traveling, low light, and just everyday life. And after about a year, well, a little bit more than a year, I have some thoughts. Let's go ahead and start with the cons and get that out of the way. There's actually not that many, and some you probably say is just nitpicking, but it's definitely better to know than not to know. One of the gripe I have with this camera is that the format SD card is too deep inside the menu. Like whenever I want to format the card, I have to go like, all the way down to the menu to find the format SD card, and that's just a lot of hassle to go through just to format a card. Another thing about this camera is that it's shooting 4K, however only horizontally, not vertically. But there's a workaround on that. Basically, if you hold the camera like this normally and then shoot horizontally like so, this is gonna be in 4K. But whenever you're shooting like vertically, when you want the camera to shoot vertically, and turns it into 3K. Not ideal, but it still works. It's very intuitive and convenient. However, if you flip the camera like this and start recording like so, you're shooting 4K. You just have to hold the camera a little differently. It's not too bad actually, in my opinion. So if you're looking to shoot 4K content vertically with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, this is the way to do it. Just kind of rig up your camera like this. Another gripe I have on this camera is that the low light footage is just not awesome. And that's also kind of expected because it's only like 1-inch sensor. What do you expect, right? Another con on this camera is just the nature of itself because it's a gimbal essentially. So you do need to kind of apply the ninja walk when you're vlogging, or else you're gonna see the gait, like up and down movement in the footage when you're walking. And for me, that's definitely a bit of a hassle because when I'm vlogging like just anywhere, I'm not gonna remember to do the ninja walk, and vlogging at the same time, it's gonna just look extra ridiculous in my opinion. I would say though it's not always that obvious, but it's definitely there, especially when you look for it. Now that's out of the way, there's definitely a lot to like about this camera, and the very first thing is obviously its compact size. The signature pocket-friendly form factor is definitely one of the selling points. Simply put, this camera is tiny, like about 5.6 inches. Yeah, that's kind of small, a little too small. And this is perfect for vlogging because a lot of people are afraid to vlog in public, and most of people think when the camera is small, people won't look at them, which is definitely not the case in my opinion, but it's still very inconspicuous in size, which makes it very likable. It's highly portable and very easy to carry around. Unlike a lot of other bulkier camera setups, this is great for vlogging, traveling, and just like everyday content creators, really. Now, the built-in gimbal for stabilization definitely ensures very steady footage, especially when you apply ninja walks and you know what you're doing with the gimbal, like camera. This is very capable. Compared to smartphones and action cameras nowadays, the mechanical gimbal definitely provides superior stabilization without the need to digital crop afterwards. The DJI Pocket 3 also has a very user-friendly interface. It's got a flip-out touchscreen, and every button is very intuitive, easy to see and to use. Even beginners will be able to know how to use this camera on the fly when I first turn it on. And that's also my favorite part about the friendly interface, is that you can just hand it to anyone and they will be able to help you film yourself if you need to. Just have the Pocket 3 track you, and your friend only need to hold the camera and follow you. That's it. They don't even have to make sure that if you're in the frame or not, which oftentimes if you give them a camera and your head might not even make it inside the frame. The camera now also has 1-inch sensor, which makes the image quality a whole lot better compared to the last 2 generations. However, I have to say the low light situation kind of footage is still not the best. I personally wouldn't recommend you going above 1600 ISO. And yes, this little guy captures 4K footage, however only horizontally. It doesn't really work like vertically. But like I mentioned earlier, you can just like hold your camera like this, and this way the camera will be able to capture 4K in vertical mode. So if you can somehow rig your camera this way, you can still get 4K vertical, or just simply hold a camera like this. And on top of the 4K video capability, you can also shoot in 10-bit log, but it's only in D-Log M, so you do get better dynamic range, but just not as much. But still, it's better than nothing. And this, in my opinion, really closes the gap between beginners and professional, whereas beginner can really use this camera like however they want and without like all the professional settings. And if you're a professional, there are still things that you can dial in to make the footage better. So it's kind of like a win-win for both. The versatility over this camera is also pretty insane. Like obviously you can vlog with this, you can film like filmmakers do like cinematic shots with this camera. And on top of that, the battery life is pretty insane. Like I can vlog for the whole day and still have juice left. And if not, you can also have like this extended battery with the creator combo, I believe. And in my opinion, if I have a full battery, like with this camera, I usually don't need this extender. Obviously your mileage may vary. And there's also a whole lot of external accessories for this camera that makes this camera even easier to use. I say the tracking capability of this camera is also good enough for most people, especially when you're just, shooting everyday life, vlogging. You can also do time lapses on this camera, and the built-in microphone is also great. And if you don't like that, you can also opt for the creator combo. It comes with the microphone, like external one, which makes the audio a whole lot better in my opinion. Last but not least, I guess a lot of people don't know is that you can use this camera as a webcam if you want. Now speaking of versatility, like with the little plate in front, you can add like different filters, like ND filters, especially when you want to shoot like with motion blurs, so your footage looks a little bit more cinematic. And the one I have over here is a mist filter, which kind of like creates a halation around like highlights in your frame. And that just makes everything a little bit more prettier in my opinion. And if you think 20mm is still too tight, you can also use the ultra wide angle adapter that goes on top of the lens, and that's going to give you 15mm, so you can keep everything you want in frame. As for why it became so popular, I think it's the combination between portability, image quality, as well as ease of use, which makes this camera a very well-rounded option for many users. And obviously, with DJI's strong reputation for stabilization technology and product innovation, it definitely adds to its appeal. It hits almost all the spot on what a creator is looking for when they're creating content. Another key point I want to mention is that because this camera is targeted for creators, whenever DJI sends freebies to creators, the compound effect is a lot more stronger. Because when people are genuinely happy with the product, it's a lot easier for them to push out the product more. It's brilliant, but obviously the product has to be good in the first place. So, is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 worth it? If you want a tiny camera that fits inside your pocket, shoots insanely smooth footage, and won't make your backpack feel like a gym session, then yeah, it's kind of awesome. But if you were hoping to replace your big fancy camera with this tiny one, that's probably not gonna happen. It's like expecting to turn a bicycle into like a Tesla or something. Maybe not that extreme, but you get the point.